All right, crossover time with Dan Dibley and Mark Willard. Also, just a reminder, Evan Giddings is in for Guru. He'll be back tomorrow. And Giants, a couple come from behind. Well, it's technically Saturday. They got tied.
Yeah, come from the head versus come from the side.
Couple big late wins for
Squeaking them out.
Did you guys see the number? I don't even remember who put this all together, but runs scored in the month of July. The Giants have scored the fewest in all of Major League Baseball, yet somehow went 12-12.
Not bad.
Codify, yeah.
Not bad.
That's courtesy of Codify.
Look for him to explode for 19 runs today.
80 runs in 24 games in the month of July. Dead last in all of baseball.
So Evan and I were kind of talking about their
they don't
situation.
need a bat, Steiny.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, they need 9. They need 9 bats.
I'm not parting with Brett Wisely.
I can't do it.
Wisely's
You
my
had me
guy.
laughing earlier.
They are.
Immaculate lettuce.
You
Oh my
had me
gosh.
rolling.
Assuming there's not a deal out there that Farhan likes, right?
Okay, you're talking about hitters, pitchers, or anything?
Mostly pitchers.
Okay.
Is what I'm talking about. Let's or you go out and you get a starter. Chances are it's not going to be a big boy, but anyway, wouldn't it be great if you let these young players, 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters, see what they can do and let's see how they handle a pennant race if you don't have something out there you really like.
Well, I think those guys are going to be in the pennant race no matter what. Like, even if they go, offensively, there's no massive bopper difference maker available, right?
Correct.
Right. So if you get something, it's going to be someone who can help, a depth piece, whatever. Like, I don't see the Giants doing something that means Matos, Luciano, Schmidt could get sent out, although his at-bats over the weekend were better. He's starting to hit some line drives, which is what you want. I don't think that they want to sacrifice development for this whole thing, and I think it's a fair point that a big part of their development would be going through a pennant race.
Exactly.
I mean, they've won a lot of games with these guys in the lineup. So I don't think anybody's getting, you know what I mean? If what you're worried about is an acquisition that leads to the rookies all getting shipped out.
Not shipped out.
I don't think that's happening.
Do we want to take away a lot of at-bats and innings from them, I guess is what I'm saying.
Depends on who you're pointing that at. Casey Schmidt, yes, you want to take some at-bats away from Casey Schmidt, and you want to have him as a defensive replacement for late in games.
Right.
Because right now he's overmatched, and he's in his own head, and he's a guy whose bat you would love to have out of the lineup. You're not taking Matos out, and Luciano we'll see depending on how they eventually adjust to Marco, but in terms of young guys, Patrick Bailey, you're not going to take his at-bats away.
Correct.
So you're looking to add maybe a middle infield piece. I mean, Tim Anderson comes to mind as a guy who...
it's interesting because they are going to add a middle infield piece. His name's Tyro Estrada.
Yeah.
Right? And so if Luciano sticks, now that's where your question becomes a good one. Do you want another middle infield piece? Because if Estrada's back and Crawford's healthy, now does that mean Luciano and Schmidt just don't play at all? I don't know if you want that. That's the weird thing about this lineup. They don't score runs, but I can't pick at the guy that you want to yank out of it.
Exactly.
Who is it that you want to yank out of the lineup?
Well, and that's, I think, kind of the indictment of the lineup at this point, because outside of maybe J.D. Davis and Lamont Wade, I don't trust anyone up there to put together 4 quality at-bats night in and night out. And so I don't think that there's a big boy out there that they can go get, or that they'd want to sacrifice the rookies that you're talking about. But even if it's a halfway decent corner infielder, middle infielder, that's probably an upgrade to your lineup no matter how you slice it. Or if it's an outfielder. There are people out there that I think are gettable. But to me, standing pat, while I do agree that you want those rookies and those young guys that you can envision helping you win next season and the year after and the year after, you want them to experience that. My point to Steiny was, if they do nothing, that to me signals that they don't think that this group can win a World Series.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll do nothing. That would really surprise me. But I also don't. When they do something, there's a very good chance that the fan base will be like, that's your big thing.
Right. Well, there's no doubt that's what's going to happen.
Well, they've already made a trade, and
unless
that's the kind of trade I think that we're talking about them making again.
No, it's not that small. They got a single A guy in return, but no.
I mean, him, though.
Verlander.
But they got Joe Vera onto a team that they could then beat.
That was
which
smart.
was genius. It's fun playing chess, not checkers.
We want him in the 11th inning
Exactly.
over the weekend.
Who's coming in next? The Diamondbacks send DeSclafani to Arizona. I know he's on the injured list, but yeah. I mean, they'll do something, but there's not a lot out there that's going to make headlines.
Well, I thought I heard Evan saying, well, if you don't do anything, you kind of stand pat, you're sending a bad message to your team. And I think this year's a little different. It just feels like it's a seller's market. If you want to buy something, it's going to cost you a lot. And if this is if you don't like what you have on your plate in terms of deals, I wouldn't interpret that as the Giants don't think they can do it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to have a chance no matter what.
I do think there's something to what you're saying, Evan. The players, I mean, J.D. Davis even spoke it out loud a couple days ago after a game. Might have been, I don't know if it was after the walk-off homer or not, but he used the word reinforcements, and basically, like we could use some reinforcements. And it's a big thing come deadline, is the team feels like, hey, we've done enough to warrant you getting involved here and really going for it, because these players, Giants more than anything, there's the rookies, but the other guys, the idea that we're going to keep building for the future, well, people on one-year deals don't care about that. Jock Peterson and J.D. Davis and, Brandon Crawford, who may be retiring, he's not interested in, well, we're building a sustainable winner for the next. These guys feel like they want to go for a ring.
Right.
Especially someone like Jock Peterson, who's won before.
Yeah.
So if he's looking at the roster and saying, you guys aren't going to bring anybody in, well, then what am I here for? I mean, at that point, because if teams have kind of poked around, I'm sure they're asking, hey, what Alex Wood, certain starting pitchers that the Giants might, I don't think they should, but might be interested in dealing. If they don't add anybody, Jock Peterson might be feeling like, well, okay, so if teams are calling about pitchers, why wouldn't they call about me? I could get to a team. I can help someone be a World Series champ. I've done it before. I did it with the Braves a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is, yes, about signaling to the players that you want to maximize this season. But also, it's hard for me. My point was that it's hard for me to take them seriously as a contender, even if they sneak into the postseason, if they don't add anything.
Right, but as we know in baseball, and I heard Steiny say this earlier today, and we've all echoed it, you never know in baseball, and they might have reinforcements coming in the form of guys you already have who are just pitching better. Stripling last 2 or 3 outings has been terrific. Mania coming off a great outing. So if those guys can start to pitch like their peak years, or not necessarily their elite years, but if they start pitching well enough to where you can actually use them in tight spots, well, now you might not need another arm. You might just need another bat. And also, I think that there's something to be said about the chemistry of this team. I don't know if you guys saw, but everyone in the lineup had Taylor Swift walk-up music on Saturday.
Courtesy of Brandon Crawford.
Which is campy and kitschy, but I think that sort of subtlety speaks to clubhouse chemistry when everybody's willing to just go along with it and mix it up a little bit.
Sure. I don't know that Draymond Green could have gotten Jordan Poole, for example, to use Taylor Swift walk-up music.
That's an interesting comp, and we'll also talk about the 49er quarterback room and how the chemistry of that room might be slowly becoming a bit upset by the media and the fans and Twitter and all the rest of us continuing to beat this drum of who's the 1, who's the 2,
right.
Why is the 4 getting more than the 3, and I'm not saying that the chemistry of the room is bad, but all the chatter and the Twitter and all the rest of it, Mark has an interesting case he'll make about the long-term effects of all that.
Well, do you guys think that today's layout of Purdy getting all the first-team reps, Darnold and Trey splitting the second teams, or being even in terms of snaps, and then Allen getting 7, but I think he only threw 3 passes, like, is that kind of a calming message in your mind to that group of people that are wondering why the hell there's still 4 quarterbacks on the roster?
What were the total rep numbers?
I think Purdy was like 23 all first team, and then 18 and 18 and 7. So Allen took a few.
I think that'll calm it down, but certainly not to the level that it should. I mean, we have reached a full-blown level of what is moving toward being a toxic environment, not inside the building, outside.
Yeah.
And I wonder if 49er fans really, really realize that. Sides are being created, accusations are being thrown, media members are fighting with media members. You have to declare, I'm a Trey person, I'm a Brock person. It's all really, really unfortunate. Like all I've ever tried to read as far as the room is what the 49ers think, because I really respect that group. And maybe you can say that to a fault. I really think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have done a wonderful job. I don't think they're stupid. I think that there are reasons for doing what they do, and you read what they're doing, and I think that it's quite obvious to sort of put some thoughts around those actions. Does that mean that you're saying this young quarterback can never make it? No. Does this mean I'm rooting only for that quarterback over there? No. Like, I wonder if the fan base really thinks about that. The only point I've tried to make is that I really hope whoever's going to win games at quarterback is who ends up being the quarterback. Brock Purdy is obviously in a spot where he has to be the week 1 starter. He's probably earned at minimum 5 to 7 football games, and then something would have to go wrong, and then you would make a change, like any football team. He's earned that. That's what it is. Other than that, the team is assessing things based on reps. They've got an absolute reason for doing what they're doing. They're not doing it because they're mad at anybody or they're trying to send a message or any of that stuff. But I think fans should stop and wonder, and media members too. You have 2 23-year-old quarterbacks who really, really matter. Are you creating an avenue that's potentially toxic for all of them, where everything is looking over your shoulder? Everything is answering questions you shouldn't be answering. After every practice, are you creating that? I don't think the Niners are. I think a lot of stuff swirling around them is.
Interesting. You coming at fans and media?
A little bit. Yeah, I know.
I'll be tuned in.
Tough avenue, huh?
I'll be tuned in.
I will
You know
say,
you're going to hear a lot of 49er fans.
That's fine.
Telling you about. And I spent
all weekend being called racist. So I mean, because if you don't think Trey Lance is perfect, many fans will take it there. I know it's a small percentage, but that's what I'm talking about. Like,
people are calling me a hairist because I support Sam Darnold, who has red hair.
Yeah,
so
Trey's got great hair.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we know you're
now we're really out of pocket.
We know you got to guess the 215.
Tristan Beck's on in 15 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.